Hello Virgo, and welcome to your reading for January 2019. Happy New Year. Hope you've had a wonderful Christmas and New Year, perhaps some time off. Welcome to 2019. Let's hope it's going to be an amazing year. My name is Melanie, and I use two different decks of cards. The first one is called Tattoo Tarot, and you can see 5 cards laid out for you already. The second deck I use, I will pull a card from that towards the end of the reading from the Dreamtime Reading Cards deck, and I'll leave details of both of those cards below. So this is a general reading for Virgo's Sun, Moon or Rising sign. Take what you like and leave the rest. If it doesn't resonate, it's totally cool. Maybe the next one will. Maybe another reader will. No problems whatsoever. Okay, so let's just dive right in. So 5 cards for you guys this month in January. The first card being your past energy, and for that you guys have the 7 of Coins, otherwise known as the 7 of Pentacles. Second card representing the current situation, current issues. You guys got the 10 of Swords. Third card being any possible obstacles that may come up for you in the month of January, King of Wands. Fourth card there is about possible helpful tools for this month for Virgos. You guys got the Ace of Swords, and the fifth card being the outcome for the month of January, and you guys got the Ace of Coins, otherwise known as the Ace of Pentacles. The card I'll pull at the end will sort of be the overall theme that hopefully will tie things together. So before I kind of go into each individual card, just want to talk about the overall sense I got for January for you guys based on the cards, and it kind of looks like a bit of a mixed month. Starting out in a bit of a difficult place with the 10 of Swords card there. The ending of something though, which is good in that it means the beginning of something new, and certainly towards the end of the month, some really good stuff happening because you've got 2 aces, Ace of Swords and Ace of Pentacles or Ace of Coins. So hold on, hold on through January and just make it through, and hopefully some good stuff will happen towards the end. All right, so the first card for your reading, you guys got the 7 of Coins. So this card represents progress, growth, perseverance, vision, the fruits of your labour. So it means that you've been working hard, you've been on a learning curve. Perhaps there's been some bit of a promotion at work or more responsibility at work or some sort of improved status in that regard. Perhaps there's been some anxiety with money, but either way, you have got to a point now where you have been toiling away. You can see the fruits of your labour, and you're just needing some patience to continue the hard work to encourage more rewards. It's sort of about having a bit of a rest, but not pausing too much and not kind of yanking things out of the ground. Say you're growing stuff, and growing things obviously takes time, and you've grown this lovely new plant, maybe some veggies, something like that, and you're seeing some shoots, and you're actually seeing some vegetables growing. You're like, oh my god, this is so awesome. And you kind of rest and you're watching it. There's sometimes a tendency to kind of pluck things before they're ripe and ready, so just hold that, resist that. Sorry, not hold it. It sounds like you have been perhaps ideally doing that, and wait. You've been waiting. You've needed to sort of look to the goals ahead, wait for that end result rather than jumping in too early. So hopefully you have been doing that, putting in a lot of work, good solid effort there, particularly I think around the work situation or financial situation, and you just are kind of sitting back a little bit now, pausing before continuing. But it's a positive card, so I think you've come from a place of growth and some sort of achievements there around work or money before heading on. Okay, so the second card for you guys representing the current issue, current situation in January for Virgos. you guys have the Ten of Swords, which is a bit of a shitty card, not gonna lie. Stabbed in the back. There's some pretty negative vibes around this card. However, this card is a 10, meaning the end of a cycle, and that therefore there's a new beginning, there's a sunrise on the horizon, good things are coming. So you might this month find that you're dealing with a loss, some ending, a crisis. You might be feeling really hurt, you might feel stabbed in the back or betrayed, and subsequently feel quite grief-stricken, quite upset, quite disillusioned. It's a challenge. This is a challenging card to have, and it's challenging to keep having faith, that things are progressing, and even though something has ended, perhaps, or some sort of process has gone on, it's only a matter of time and choice, the way we choose to think about things, of course. And getting up off the ground after being stabbed in the back, and walking on and letting go of the past and what has happened around that. This could represent metaphorical death of some sort, the ending of something in your life. However, it could also represent swords are thoughts, communication, words, matters of the mind, stuff to do with your head. So maybe in some way you guys have contributed to something that has ended internally within you or externally because of the way, or a factor in that has been the way you've thought about things. You may be feeling, at rock bottom. It can be quite a devastating card. But remember, with all downs, then there's always ups. Remember life cycles. Nothing is permanent. Everything moves. Change is the only consistent thing, really in life. So this is a cycle. So if this is where you are right now, hold on. Breathe. I think very important to look after yourself. If shit's really hit the fan for you guys, self-care, self-care, self-care. If you find that you need a lot of self-care, and this happens a lot in your life, I'd question what the hell's going on. I very much believe if you need to be practicing a lot of self-care just to cope with things, something else in your life needs to shift, so be gentle with yourself. This is a card of needing to have courage and faith, which can be really challenging when you feel really devastated about something, or betrayed, or something has ended that you didn't particularly want to, but this means the beginning of something new. The classic kind of one door closes, another door opens. I know that's cliched and probably shitty to hear when you're not feeling really good, but that's always true. It's just the way you interpret things and the way you choose to see things. We all have choices in the way that we think about things, even though things around us feel like they're well and truly beyond our control. How we interpret them, we do have control over that, okay? So be kind and compassionate towards yourself and those around you. Third card for this month for Virgos, you guys have the King of Wands, and this is in the position of possible obstacles that may come up for you this month. And I suspect this one, is linked to the Ten of Swords, even though they're different suits. You've got swords and you've got wands. The King of Wands can represent a person, a man, an older man, a man in a position of power, a leader, someone who's really usually pretty wise, pretty charismatic. Wands is pretty fiery, passionate energy. This may be a person who's at the centre of the limelight, very energetic kind of person. If this is a person in your life, maybe a boss, maybe a father figure, and being in the obstacle position, they could be in the way for you somehow, blocking you perhaps from moving on from whatever's happened in the Ten of Swords. This person could perhaps be a bit jealous, a bit strict, a bit harsh and bullying. This card can also represent very severe measures, but also, in a positive note, very much can represent security and stability and intuitive kind of strength, not holding yourself back. Very strong, courageous, passionate energy. So if there's a person in your life who's like this, for some reason right now, they may be blocking you on some level. If it's not a person, it could be you, with having a bit too much of, I guess, a bit of an attitude problem. Maybe you're being a bit arrogant, you're sort of thinking you know it all, saying words that aren't really coming out of a wise kind of place, perhaps with a bit of aggression. So obviously watch out for that. You know, and I think that makes sense in light of the Ten of Swords card. If you're feeling really bad and really betrayed and that the world's turned against you or something, of course we want to lash out with a lot of passion and with a lot of rage, with a lot of spiteful words. I really encourage you to pause before doing that, as bloody hard as that is. Who is that going to serve, you know, in the end? So whether that's a person around you who's a bit of an obstacle, or this is about you on some level and you're kind of getting in the way of yourself, be mindful of that. The King of Wands can also represent the need to settle certain sort of obligations to do with your work or home life. So if something needs signing or needs completing in that way, sort of formal things, something like that needs to be done, I think, if it's not to do with a leader or not to do with your own attitude right now. Maybe it's something to do with needing to sign off on something before moving on, and that's kind of blocking you. So there's a few different interpretations of the King of Wands in the obstacle position. So the fourth card for Virgos, representing possible helpful tools this month, Ace of Swords. Yes, finally some good news for you guys. Although the Seven of Coins card is pretty good. You know, the next two were a little shitty. I just noticed with the King of Wands card, followed by the Ace of Swords, they've both got crowns in them. Different crowns, but crowns nonetheless. So maybe it's sort of taking the crown off the King of Wands, or the King of Wands has sort of shifted into the Ace of Swords. Aces, of course, meaning new beginnings and fresh starts. Crown being about victory, you know. So swords, the suit of swords, you know, matters of the, I think I mentioned this with the Ten of Swords, matters of the mind, thinking, words, communication and conversations, worries, you know, that kind of stuff. Ace of Swords though, this is a double-edged sword, so be mindful of that. But Ace of Swords though, mental clarity, raw power, you know, insight, wisdom, truth, knowledge, accomplishment, you know, victory kind of thing. A sword, single sword, you know, cutting through to the heart of the matter. Very much about sort of fighting for what you believe in too, and having courage to do that. I think this, you know, you could really harness some good thinking stuff here. Once you get out of this Ten of Swords kind of energy, you know, to go into the Ace of Swords energy, it's a completely different place in your head, a really big mental shift here. And this could be very positive, you know, cutting away the baggage, focus only on things which you desire really right now. Excuse me, but this card could also be about a gift, you know, something really positive coming your way. But particularly, you know, being a swords card, very much about thinking, communication, being analytical and rational, you know, which to me represents a more calmer, wiser kind of state. You know, and really kind of going into battle for, not battle, but, you know, perhaps a bit of a battle for yourself, having that kind of faith in yourself and coming from a really good place mentally. It's a card of encouragement fundamentally. So I think if you can get into a better sort of mental state, this could be very useful for you, and something, a kind of a new way of thinking could come in here if that pops up, if people offer you a new kind of ideas or concepts, or you read something somewhere, have a conversation with someone, be open to that. Be really open to that, because that could that could really shift things. I think this Ace of Swords is saying, and shift things so much that the outcome potentially for January for Virgos is Ace of Coins, Ace of Pentacles, really good, another ace, really good solid card. Coins or pentacles represent earthy things, practical matters, finance, career, tangible things, possessions, work, jobs, profit, businesses, that kind of stuff. So you started with the Seven of Coins, and you've kind of got the Ace of Coins here. So something financially or work-wise may become something new, may be coming in for you guys. That's very fulfilling, some sort of fresh financial start or opportunity, a new enterprise, something sort of that feels a bit like it's been gifted from the universe. It's very grounding, solid energy. It's very much about abundance, practical success as a result of hard work. And of course, I think that relates back to the Seven of Coins there, that there has been a lot of hard work put in for you guys in the past. And perhaps this is a reward for that, something new coming in on top of that hard work. It's a very strong, solid energy. It's a card of results, So, look, I think January is going to be a little tricky and challenging at times. Maybe you've had a break from work and you've come back and there's some shit that's kind of going on and you're feeling really betrayed, or that there's been words or gossip or something behind your back, and that's kind of distorting your thinking a bit. Maybe there's a person in the way there, or your own thinking in the way. If you work through that stuff, take care of yourself, get a bit of distance, be a bit objective. Some really good positive new things could be coming in for you guys. Absolutely. So and both the Ace of Swords and the Ace of Coins, are gifts from the universe, from the hand of God, or whatever you choose to believe in there, but some sort of higher power really stepping in there to help you. But I think you've got to do a little bit of work and processing, or a lot, processing first, your own stuff. Take it back to you, what you want, what you need. Who gives a shit about anyone else? There's always going to be people doing all that kind of crazy shit, saying whatever they want, doing whatever they want. Can't control that. Can control, like I said, the way you choose to think about things, how you interpret things. There's a lot of power in that. Okay, so final card I'm doing for you guys is kind of like an oracle card, and that's the I like to pull that as to get a bit of an overall theme that sort of hopefully draws them all together. And I choose that from the Dreamtime Reading Cards deck. Whoop. Dreamtime is the Aboriginal Australian spiritual belief system. These cards are about connecting with ancient spirit and the nature of Australia, our beautiful country. Again, I'll leave details of those cards down below. So what I'm going to do is give these massive cards a bit of a shuffle. See what comes up for Virgo. The overall theme, I'm going to move that, for Virgos for January 2019. What do you guys kind of need to know? What's going to tie all this together? Messages from the universe through these cards, the overall theme. Virgos for January. Go this one. Oh, you got mullet, which means community, but on this card it's about community. You'll see this beautiful card, typical dot painting, very typical of Aboriginal Australian art. So I'm going to lay him there, and what I do is I read from the booklet. I'm going to straighten you up. I'm going to find mullet. Mullet, I think it's a fish. God, I really should know that. Community, interesting, huh? So I'm just going to read from this book. The mullet is a fish of coastal waters and estuaries. Every year the mullet gather in the local river and together form great circles in the water. These great circles contain hundreds of fish feeding and spawning. The mullet represents community, large gatherings and celebrations. It reminds you that you are part of a community and that at times you will crave the company of others. It celebrates time spent with family, friends and groups of like-minded people. Now would be a good time to plan a get-together with a group of people, perhaps host a gathering at your place or in your local community. The mullet also reminds you of the continuity of the seasons, of the times when you crave the company of others and the times when you wish to retreat and spend time in quiet solace on your own. Because the mullet is a very resilient fish and quite plentiful, it is also associated with fertility, pregnancy and marriage, any of those celebrations that involve growing together and sharing with another. When the rings of mullet show up, it's time to enjoy time with your soul family and acknowledge your place in the wider community. Share meals, introduce yourself to your neighbours and see if there's anywhere in your local area where you could volunteer your time or talents to help your community. Interesting, huh? I was just trying to think how this ties in. Maybe what's happened for you guys is something that's gone on in your community, whether that's your family community, your friend community, your work community, or using community and the resources in the social connections for you right now would be a good way to get self-care, maybe to get some other opinions and to get some support with whatever has happened in the Ten of Swords that has left you feeling pretty devastated and pretty hurt. Perhaps it's also a suggestion to not go it alone too much right now. Obviously, I think when we're really hurt, I don't know about you guys, but I want to retreat. Often my tendency is to kind of want to back off and back away from people and kind of run away and hide. Perhaps the card mullet, being about community, is to resist that urge a little bit. Hang with your tribe, find your safe people and gather those around you right now, and maybe some really good new things could come from that. So, on that note, I'm going to wrap this reading up. Hope it's been useful. If you have liked it or has resonated, do what you need to below. If not, totally fine. But either way, look, I hope January is a month that you grow through, okay? That encourages some resilience, but to be really gentle and kind with yourself, and that ultimately is going to be a really positive month, certainly towards the end. So hang in there, Virgos. Interesting way to start the year, but hey, it's just a start. It can only get better from here. Thank you for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in February.